Arithmetic and Geometric Sequences, Part 1. Identify the sequence as either arithmetic or geometric. List the next two terms of the sequence. An arithmetic sequence is a sequence in which the future terms are found by subtracting or adding a fixed constant to a previous term. A geometric sequence is a sequence in which the future terms are found by multiplying a fixed constant to a previous term. So we need to look at the sequence and decide if the numbers are being added or subtracted to get the next term, or if they're being multiplied by some number to get the next term. If we look at this, if we just look at the bottom numbers of the fraction, we can see that to get from 8 to 64, we can just multiply 8 because 8 times 8 is 64. If we were to try that rule again, 64 times 8 is 512. So that tells me that I'm multiplying my denominators by 8. Now if we look at the top number, which is a 3, 3 to 3 is just being multiplied by 1. So this tells me that I'm multiplying my numerators by 1. Now, if I'm multiplying my numerators by 1 and my denominators by 8, that means I'm multiplying each previous term by 1/8 to get the next term. And we can try this out. If we take the first term, which is a 3, and then multiply 1/8 to it, we get 3 times 1, which is 3, and then 1 times 8, which is 8. And that gives me a term of 3/8. And I can do this again. 3/8 times 1/8 is 3 times 1 is 3, and 8 times 8 is 64. And that does give me the third term of the sequence. So this tells me that I'm multiplying by 1/8 to get my next number in the sequence. Since I'm multiplying by a constant term, I have a geometric sequence. Now I want to find the next two terms of the sequence. So I'll take my last term that I'm given, which is 3 over 512, and I need to multiply that by 1/8. So 3 times 1 is 3, and then 512 times 8 is 4,096. That's my next term. And then I need to find one more term, so I'll take that number and I'll multiply it by 1/8. So 3 times 1 is 3, and then 4,096 times 8 is 32,768. So my answers are that it's a geometric sequence, and then the next two terms are 3 over 4,096 and 3 over 32,768. Identify the sequence as either arithmetic or geometric. List the next two terms of the sequence. Here I have a sequence 5, 0, -5, and -10. We want to figure out what's being done to each term in order to get the next term. So if I look at my first term, I have 5. My next term is 0. What can I do to 5 to get 0? Well, I can subtract 5 to get a value of 0. So I'm saying that my rule is -5. Let's try that out on the next couple terms to make sure that that's correct. So I'll take 0 and minus 5, and I get a negative 5. That does check out. I get my third term. And I'll do that again. I have a negative 5 minus 5, which is a negative 10. And that also checks out. So my rule is that I am subtracting 5. Since I'm adding or subtracting a constant to a previous term to get the next term, that means I have an arithmetic sequence. Now I want to find the next two terms in my sequence. So I'll take the last term that's given to me, which is a negative 10, and I'm going to apply my rule, which is minus 5. So I have a negative 10 minus 5, and that gives me a negative 15. So the next term in the sequence is negative 15. Now I want to find one more term. So I'll take the negative 15, subtract 5 from it, and I get negative 15 minus 5 is negative 20. So the next two terms in my sequence are negative 15 and negative 20.